What's good, kings and queens? Hope everyone's having a good month. After 3 years, this series finally makes a return. I hope everyone enjoys the 8th installment.
They want AB to go out. They want me to lose this fight, go up under the rug, and never be talked about again.
He's a clown and a mouthy idiot from over the water.
Los cinturones aquí se hacen a un lado. Hay que pelear por honor y por gloria nada más.
You couldn't fight worse. You couldn't fight worse.
Step across the line. Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
So Angel Garcia 2.0, aka Teofimo Lopez Sr., crashes the media day workouts leading up to the Kambosos fight, running up on Kambosos Sr. Now Kambosos Sr. wasted no time at all and grabbed Lopez Sr. and gave him a good nudge before security split everything up. Lopez Sr. is acting like he's the victim out of all this.
You saw that, right? You saw that, bro. You saw that, right?
Then, once they are separated, Lopez Sr. and Kambosos Sr. are going at it, yelling at each other from across the gym.
Walk across this line. Hey, I'm gonna f you up first.
You got an MMA coach. You got an MMA coach. You got an MMA coach, bitch. Shut up. Motherfucker. Give me a
January 2017, undefeated Canadian contender Brandon Cook was up against another undefeated Canadian contender, Stephen Butler. A lot on the line with this fight. Butler was the IBF regional champion of North America, and Brandon Cook was the NABA champion, which is another important regional title to hold getting into contender status if you're from North America. The match took place in Butler's backyard of Montreal, Canada. This was a high stakes match with a lot on the line. Tensions between both fan bases were high in this regional title bout. Not all the time you see in the States domestic rivalry bouts, especially good recent examples. California rarely ever disappoints with their rivalry fights. Rivalries between New York boroughs also brings out a crowd. In some situations, local rivalries that draw in divided crowds pose a security risk, like in the Battle of Albuquerque, New Mexico between Johnny Tapia and Danny Romeo Jr. This fight posed such risk that it had to be moved to a neutral location of Las Vegas instead of having it in New Mexico. These are just small details you have to pay attention to when it comes to these types of events. With all that being said, with tensions riding high on the local kid, in the final seconds of the 7th round, Butler gets cracked and dropped. Clearly pretty hurt, the ref does not give Butler the benefit of the doubt despite it being seconds before the round ends, and waves the fight off, resulting in a huge upset win. Now, keep in mind, this is the same ref that robbed Librado Andrade of becoming Mexico's first super middleweight champ back in 2008, giving Butte, who was pretty much knocked out on his feet, all the time in the world to make the count, then burn more time so he can make it out the 12th round to go to the scorecards.
Marlon right, and we run our clock, and match just takes forever. Most contemptible exhibits of hometown refereeing I've ever seen.
So the crowd is very angry, Butler is angry, fans are chucking whatever they can find near them. Butler pushes the ref, then to walk over while still on wobbly legs and push Cook, which happened to be horribly timed in Cook's favor, as right after the push, a bucket of ice right into the lane. He was pushed, clocking him in the head, sending him to the canvas. This will spark up fights in the arena. In this section here, I will for the first time have an eyewitness user at _ Orsini514 gives his testimony what happened.
All right, well, I could tell you that Butler's from like Montreal North, and like a lot of his friends from like that neighborhood were there, so they aren't necessarily very nice guys, we'll say, kind of street dudes. And they saw their buddy get knocked out, and they were upset. Someone threw a bucket, and there's videos too. You can see like there's a Grey Goose bottle that comes flying over the fucking ring. It hit some woman that was sitting ringside. I brought my buddy. I was like, you want to come see a boxing fight? And he was like, oh, I don't know, man. People there, everybody always wants to fight. And I was like, no, man, it's never like that. Like, I've been to so many boxing events. Like, it's never like that. And the first time I bring him to his first fight, a fucking riot breaks out in the Bell Center.
Haney is just not a good villain, and this villain character just came off forced and out of nowhere. He's a talker on social media, but he has his pops doing all his dirty work when it comes to talking, like a Danny Garcia type. However, the build up to this fight was positive and honorable. Vasil was in line to face George Kambosos after his win against Kami. However, the invasion taking place in Lomachenko's country, it forced Vasil to step aside. Haney versus Kambosos will be made when Vasil, as well as Usyk, was given the green light by the government. Both got back into training and the fight was on. This fight practically sold itself. During the roundtable promotion, Haney was trying to force some drama that wasn't even there, then to forcibly find a reason to get mad because Vasil was completely confused. So fast forward to the weigh-in. Haney, to get in ahead of Vasil, create more hype for the fight, and then some, pushes Vasil almost immediately upon the face-off sequence of the weigh-in, which you could clearly tell Lomachenko did not see that coming. Seemed to be more confused and angry, which during the weigh-ins, that's a type of tame you don't see because you've been starving yourself and depriving yourself of food and fluids. Quite a bit of guys have short fuses because they are so hungry and thirsty. Now this fight had it all to be a fun exhibition. On paper, this just seemed to be the best opponent for Floyd to competitively make it fun.
We know that's one of his signature punches.
Yes! Work out! Go in! Yes!
Oh, he's in the corner, he better get out of there. Chop it again. Keep your hands up.
But Gotti is a idiot. He was trying to find a way out of the fight, holding and hitting on the break, not respecting the ref. Now there's obvious instances that part of the show, like in Chavez's exhibitions against Arce, but this is not the case. Gotti is just being an asshole. After some of the most excessive holding by Gotti, Kenny had enough and stopped the fight.
Stop! Let up! Let up! Let up! What the fuck? I said let up!
Gotti's literally falling into frustration. That's it. I'm gonna take care of it. You clinch. Mayweather's gonna take care of it.
Okay, hold it. Yeah, they roughhousing now. They roughhousing. Well, that's what they told the corner of Gotti. Gotti told That's it. Oh, they can't stop. That's it. That's it.
Gotti, somehow in disbelief, gets angry and begins to go after Floyd, and still failed to get a shot in despite security sort of preventing Floyd from moving. Then it goes from this could be staged to, oh, this isn't staged. A brawl breaks out, and soon as it looked like it cooled down, like literally this brief moment, when Floyd had exited the ring, a full-on brawl will resume between both teams, then in the crowd, to where the commentary team packed it up and left ringside. Seen from Antonio Tarver's live stream as he is one of the commentators, fights will break out backstage as it was an all-out frenzy. This is a bad look for boxing, this is a bad look for exhibition fights in the West and North America. In my side quest video from the other year, I show off events that are done right. Chavez vs. Arce series was done right.
Arce, conecta Julio con la mano derecha y con la izquierda, acusa, recibe del impacto del travieso, el travieso sigue metiendo golpes y combinaciones, y el gran campeón mexicano suelta a la izquierda y la derecha con violencia, y esto no tiene para cuándo terminar.
This legendary event in Japan where you had the biggest names, current and upcoming fighters fighting each other in exhibitions was an event done right and a gold standard.
左強烈。
うわー、左強烈。
ですよね、これ。
うわー、アッパー2つ、3つ。すごい戦いだ、若い2人です。オリンピック金メダルを目指す岡澤セオンと19歳の佐々木。
What took place with Mayweather-Gotti was absolutely disgusting, and it bottlenecks the potential in this genre of combat sports. And I hope that Gotti never sees the light of day in boxing, because I genuinely like expedition fights. I like the concept. It truly brings in newer and younger audiences into the sport. So really, that guy for making an ass of himself, for not only starting a riot in the ring, but backstage as well. We all remember Curtis Harper from his fight against Efe Ajagba, where he walked out of the ring upon the first round bell because he was not paid. Since then, Curtis will be back on the road facing all the upcoming talent. He will pick up his last win in July of 2022 before going on a 4-fight losing streak. Earlier in this month of May 2024, Curtis was matched up in his first fight that is not against an undefeated prospect. A fight he should very well win, because as another loss on his resume could possibly run risk of having his boxing license suspended. His opponent, Caleb Slaughter. And well, this fight did not last long at all, as a little over 40 seconds in, Caleb intentionally pushes Curtis out the ring. The co-commentator's reaction is just priceless.
Wow. Really turned ugly here in an instant. Jesus Christ.
Due to the fact that it was clearly purposeful, and the nudge Caleb made with his leg while Curtis is on the ground further cemented that this isn't a unicorn of an accident like Williams versus Cintron. Caleb will be disqualified, and unfortunately for Harper, this will be his first recorded win in almost 2 years. In the wake of Haney's loss to Garcia, Floyd having history with the Haneys, and Floyd's new relationship with Ryan Garcia earlier this year rustled some jimmies on Ryan's side as well as on Haney's side. But looking back in the past drama with Floyd at the center, it's almost like a Bravo reality TV show. Yep, the Real Boxers of Las Vegas. Floyd has drama with Davis. He has Haney at his gym giving pointers and stirring things up. Mayweather has drama with Davis once more, and possibly some beef with the Haneys off record. Ryan is now with Floyd, publicly taking advice and learning new ideas. With the Haney loss and the recent news about Ryan claiming that Floyd told him to come in overweight, which, pause for a sec. This reminds me of Floyd versus Marquez. It was a catch weight of 144 pounds that Floyd signed the contract for. Floyd, either purposely or by accident, waits till minutes before the weigh-in to request that the fight should be at 147 because he can't make the weight, presenting a contract signed by all parties. He was 2 pounds overweight. He owed Marquez $300K for each pound he's overweight. However, Marquez agreed and gave his initial in the fight, being at 147 on the new contract. So I'm guessing Marquez received some under-the-table money for this fight to go forward as scheduled, because it was already postponed in July by Floyd in regards to a rib injury. Okay. With all that context there, and what Ryan allegedly said, what Floyd told him to do could possibly be true.
I've been knowing you for hella long, but I feel like you're a bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Okay. That's how I feel like it, me, myself, personally. You know what I'm saying? By your actions. And so, let me tell you, by your actions. Wait. That's cool. Wait, PB, you wanted me to tell you? I feel like you're a bullshit based on your actions about everybody that's been in the town that's been down with you. You dig what I'm saying? They doing dirt ball bad. Ain't nobody doing real good with you.
This Instagram live stream between Floyd and Haney was an absolute mess. Bill Haney mostly just arguing to himself.
Listen, you've been carrying that bullshit that you've been doing for nothing. I'm not gonna kiss your ass. You know I'm not gonna kiss your ass. Period. Hey, Bill. And listen, for every Mac, Bill, you had the floor. Listen, I'm saying, Mac. Bill, when can I get the floor? Bill, when can I get the floor? Okay, I'm gonna let you get the floor. Whether it be Mac, whether it be S-Mac, whether it be all the bad niggas, be my up the way from Oakland, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. A lot of
each time there was a break and Mayweather can make his defense, Bill cuts him off almost immediately and goes off topic to something else.
Because don't pop it. You know what I'm saying? You pop it 1,000 times. Nigga, about that sparring shit. Nigga been sparring. I didn't watch you beat this up. And when my son got down on you, you dig what I'm saying? You act like
Bill. If your son is undefeated in the gym, congratulations. Congratulations that you got an undefeated fighter in the gym.
I got don't lie. Guess what? Of the time.
Ask you a question. Bill, let me ask you a question. What's my record under the lights?
In this 15-minute video, it makes Floyd the much more mature, calm, and collective figure despite being cut off numerous times, while Bill sounds more like an immature, stereotypical father-manager that's more about street cred than cred in the sports.
What the fuck you talking about? You keep running around this motherfucker like that you the only one like
when somebody died, when you lose a loved one, of course we take an L. You just took an L. And I'm not talking about in the ring. We're not talking about in the ring.
I know this, Bill. I ain't never been in the ring.
He claims he's undefeated in the streets, but you got caught slipping in the streets by the Blue Ops and had to do 4 months in prison. I think that's an L in your resume, fam.
You talk, Bill, I've always been respecting
that punk ass 50 and 0. I'm 50 and 0 in these streets. I love in these streets. You're 50 and 0 with that boxing shit. That shit don't mean nothing.
Bill, I ain't gotta get, we ain't gotta have a pistol contest. Bill, I ain't gotta.
Whether if he wants to call it an L or not, that L saved his life and turned into a successful career.
Don't nothing else matter.
Bill, it's not about the streets, Bill. Bill, it's not about the streets. That's why you got out the streets, Bill. That's why you got out the streets. I learned from my dad not to even be in the streets. But listen, I ain't come up in no suburbs, Bill.
Listen, no, wait a minute, I'm still in the streets. Listen, I'm still in the streets. I see your kids. Wait a minute. If I see your kids, wait a minute.
Nothing to glorify.
What you mean?
Now, there could be a whole video dedicated to just Charlo brothers, but I'm gonna keep this limited. In most situations on PBC, you have the most stacked, most recognized stable in America, and none of these guys are fighting each other for whatever reason, and to divert attention from why these matchups are not happening, they call out a fighter who they know politically cannot fight them because they're from a rival TV network or a rival promotion. Well, this went on for many years till when you can no longer do this because the cash cow is now under the same umbrella. There's no excuses for these fights and setup fights to be made. Plant by default is in the position to fight Canelo and Benavidez. He gets his shot against Canelo for undisputed, loses, but that's a badge of honor, that he was about that life and wants to strive to go higher. Since Canelo is undisputed, these guys have to fight each other if they want that shot. You have Charlo at middleweight, who has not done anything worth noting since 2019, calling out these guys, but not really doing anything outside of that. Jamal was actually supposed to have faced Canelo, however, Jamal was going through issues, and Jermell, who was also jointly helping Jamal out, calling out Canelo, ended up fighting him. Backtrack to Charlo and Benavidez. In 2022, Mike Tyson gaslit on his podcast, throwing David's name out there, and he needs to fight him, and what's going on. Not only once, but twice. In the beginning and towards the end of the podcast, with Charlo's reaction not really expressing much enthusiasm of the idea. These clips would go viral on social media, and fast forward a month later, Charlo is making a scene calling out David at an event where David would walk over and call him out on his bluff. David would try to get physical till security pulled him off. He literally walked all the way over there to be pulled off while Charlo stays in the same spot yapping. Well, does anything like a fight deal come out of this whole situation? Nope, not at all. However, Benavidez and Plant, who have a real beef to settle, made moves and ended up fighting each other. Plant did not win, however, he has that badge of honor for making moves and taking up the challenge to be in line for a title while Charlo is just hanging around.
Me? Is hanging around.
Backstage during the Spence vs. Crawford event, Charlo is back on that BS, running up on Plant talking trash, but this time he was a bit more physical, grabbing Plant's beard, making racial remarks, then to grab at his face again. Plant now embarrassed as this is happening right in front of his peers, which this is where the infamous video begins rolling. He begins to walk over to Charlo and unleashes a quick open palmed hook to his face. Unlike Canelo, Charlo did not see this coming and he got decked. Plant is immediately escorted by security as Plant is yelling out to Charlo, "Don't you ever put your hands on my face again, boy." Charlo, defeated, doesn't really put up the effort to run up on Plant. Even if he couldn't go head on, the car entrance garage door was cracked open, which he could have ducked under and chased after Plant. This entrance can be seen in the video and was used by Plant's wife to get around Charlo to go to Plant. The case with Andrade is just as bad, if not worse, than Jermall Charlo. Now, Jermell and Canelo have not so good history dealing with Andrade. I can go back and rehashing the feud between Charlo and Andrade, but this is about Canelo and Andrade. Since 2014, Andrade has not done anything remotely to earn himself a blockbuster fight due to inactivity, bailing out of key fights, etc. He is a depreciating asset. If this man was a car, he would be an early 2000s Maserati. You're not getting anything back in your investment. Not 5 years, not 10 years, or 20 years. So Andrade is calling all these guys out, but has not done anything to earn it because no one knows who the hell he is and why they should invest in him. So when he did get that big shot to face WBO champ Billy Joe Saunders, his popularity and his stock rise is really riding on this one fight when it didn't have to be like this. Saunders gets popped for a banned substance. Andrade will win the title off of a not so known contender. DAZN did absolutely their best, grade A effort to push this man, and even how ridiculous it was. He being compared to the likes of Bernard Hopkins.
Don King can do business with Bob Arum, with Oscar De La Hoya, and Chavez. I'm pretty sure he can work with Butch Lewis. I want to be the next Marvin Hagler. Butch Lewis, when he first signed me, he wrote out a bio file for everyone to say that I was the next Marvin Hagler in the 90s. Now I have the opportunity to prove that. I wish in this year, early next year, that I can unify the title. If not, I would like to fight Roy Jones Jr. He's the baddest man in town. I want to fight the baddest man in town.
And unapologetically outspoken, a realist of the industry.
It took 9 months. The fight is not really important.
Well, it is to our audience. It is to our audience.
I knew I could beat this guy.
Particularly after the first fight.
When
Just talk about Robert Allen and what went on in the second round.
When the politics put me on the shelf for 9 months waiting for a mandatory that's supposed to took place in 90 days after January 31st of 1998, and it didn't take place until August. You tell me, is it corruption in the sport? And then you tell me, let's talk about Robert Allen? That fight is over with. It's done. That's tomorrow. I don't worry about Robert Allen. I ain't have no doubt in my mind that I can beat him.
A hell of a self-promoter. Andrade was none of that.
And Canelo's good for that. He fought Shane Mosley on his way out, Miguel Cotto on his way out, and that's how he's been building his resume. And a guy like me, would love to get in there with anybody that's in the top division, but I'm fighting them at their peak, at their prime, and also when they're undefeated.
Hopkins is one of the greatest self-promoters in the game, especially at press conferences and during post-fights where he really had to push himself because he didn't have the flash of all the rest of the fighters in the game at the time.
Who are you pointing all this anger at? Tell us exactly who you're pointing at.
There's no anger. It's you. Listen, it's you. I'm concerned more than upset. It's you and the other people in the industry that sits back and see, not criticize. And I'm not saying that you are the fault. I'm saying that you are outside looking in. Y'all know what goes on in the sport. Y'all want y'all interviews. Y'all want y'all writers. The writers want they quotes, and they want to do their Monday jobs, and they want to write the papers. But we all know that fighters are being taken advantage of, and our lives is on the line, man. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hopkins didn't mope and complain, be the victim, and just wait around to be gift-wrapped an opportunity to just fumble it and turn it down. Hopkins was one of the most active title holders during the pre-Tito fight period of his career. His constant activity, fighting, having airtime on TV, calling out the industry and how they are against him, and he built up a range of support because of it.
I can assure you it won't happen again.
Well, I'll tell you what, Larry, unless you got powers other than being a commentator, then that's a part of the business and part of the problem. So since you exposed that to the world, let's move on to other issues. I want to fight the junior middleweight champions, the so-called the best. Hold up.
Isn't it embarrassing for the middleweight champion of the world to be calling out junior middleweight champions?
Well, junior middleweights is only 5 to 6 pounds away from middleweights. I mean, junior middleweights always been middleweights. Come on now, Larry. 15 years ago, they didn't have junior weight classes in boxing. It was welterweight, middleweight.
12 title defenses in 4 years. Andrade from his Charlo fumble onward to present day, 12 fights in 1 decade. So anyways, Golovkin failed to get a fight with Saunders for the WBO title to make their fight with Canelo undisputed. Canelo also failed as well shortly after Golovkin failed. Andrade ends up with the title shortly after Canelo and Golovkin wrapped up their series in 2018. Both Canelo and Golovkin's goal was to become undisputed at middleweight. With Canelo winning the series, all that's there is Andrade with the WBO and Jacobs with the IBF. Canelo unifies against Jacobs in May of 2019. He is now aiming to fight Demetrius Andrade next in an undisputed unification. Billy fight probably didn't happen between Canelo or Golovkin at the time because maybe he wanted to be the final boss for undisputed and was like, if I'm not going to be final boss, I'm going to be paid like one, and outpriced himself out of both fights. Andrade, on the other hand, is the final boss. loss, and must have asked for something so ridiculous and dragged on negotiations for this fight because Canelo always fights in September and May, and it was getting awfully close to that time and it passed on by. They had to reserve another date with the MGM, and Kovalev had just got a big win against Yard for the WBO title back in August. So fast forward to 2020, right when boxing opens back up, Canelo goes on barely a one-year campaign to be undisputed at 168. He beat Smith for the WBC, WBA, and ring titles, then beats Saunders in May for the WBO. All that's left is Caleb Plant. Andrade, on the other end, has done remotely nothing to write home about. He goes to Canelo's post-fight press conference and tries to bomb it.
So when can we get something going on?
Oh, man. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Thank you.
Big fan.
Thank you.
What's up, though?
I know that.
When can we make it happen, though?
Canelo is in complete disbelief by the fact that Andrade would have the audacity to clout chase after him, and Canelo would just blow up on Andrade in English.
Man, you fight with nobody. Hey, you are a champion, but are you... What?
Wait, you avoided that fight.
Hey, you fight with nobody, man. You won You won the belt with nobody.
Now, Canelo always spoke English. He's been learning for years. However, he never spoke publicly to the press.
The books. The girls have the books.
Who is eating? I'm eating sandwich.
Especially not in this fashion. He only spoke whatever English he knew behind closed doors. Maybe because he was still learning and didn't want to use till he was fully confident. And this just happened to be the day that Canelo will say in perfect English, telling Andrade off.
Who are fighting? You never gonna get the fight, man. You're a horrible fighter. Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter. Payday. You want payday. I know that.
Watch your mouth, bro.
Once good friends, their relationship will be broken when Crawford started to move up in weight, now up to welterweight. Since Arrow is now Crawford's rival, and Arrow is stablemates with Charlo, Jermell out of pocket began bashing Crawford. The minute Crawford was seen as competition from his stablemate just for clout.
Now, I ain't gonna say he ain't fought nobody, but man, come on, man. I think he was Gamboa. You know, these bro, they old. Miracon, they want no more smoke. You know, shit like that going on. Put that little Russian in front of him, he got clocked. He stood that up though. He knocked him out. Man, get in the ball field, jump to the big leagues.
Crawford did not appreciate such fake behavior. Tensions would be heated leading up to the Spence Jr. fight. During the fight, once Crawford had taken over and he was on his way to defeating Spence in the 7th round, when Terrence dropped Spence in the final 10 seconds, he had walked over to the opposite corner facing Charlo and begins calling him out. After the encounter, NBA star James Harden asked Charlo if they are in the same weight class, to where Charlo's response is mostly downplaying on Crawford that he already done it, when knowing Crawford had already done it too and on the verge of becoming two-time undisputed, all while Charlo is in preparations to fight Canelo.
Nah, my weight class. Bro, I'll fight Canelo next. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm undisputed at 154. I already did that.
Canelo and Oscar, on and off, have been feuding for a while, resulting in Canelo leaving the promotion in 2020, and mostly the two going back and forth on media about each other.
Porque él se está preocupando en tomar y andar en otras cosas y eso. Él no es Golden Boy. Las decisiones las toman otras personas. Cuando se fue Richard Schaefer de Golden Boy.
This was cranked up to the max when Canelo was facing Jaime Munguia, a fighter part of Oscar De La Hoya's promotion. This bottled up rage exploded during the final press conference, where Oscar brought up Canelo Triple G's postponement due to being tested for a banned substance, clenbuterol.
Remember when Jaime was 21 years old, volunteered to step in against Triple G, and Canelo failed 2 drug tests? Though Jaime wasn't allowed to fulfill his dream, 2018, on Saturday night, he will do just that.
Canelo will call out Oscar, then to get out of his seat and approach Oscar before being separated.
Tienen que escribirle lo que tiene que decir este pinche cabrón. Tú lo escribes. ¿Qué lo escribes, pendejo? Tú no escribes nada, cabrón. Tú no haces nada. Tú no haces nada. Eres un pendejo, eso lo que eres. Eres un pendejo, cabrón, porque están nomás ahí. Los que hacen todos son los que están detrás de ti. Tú eres un pendejo nomás con la imagen, idiota.
Canelo will have his say on the matter, which the interpreter will have a vanilla translation of it to be interrupted by Canelo in English giving his real interpretation and his closing statement on the matter.
Things that Mr. De La Hoya said or did that... Yeah.
And he's a so that's what I say. He's a he tried to keep the attention for him, not for Munguia. He's a he steals his fighters. That's what he do.
And on top of that, this is when boxing gets personal part 8. For more installments, be sure to like, share, and if you're new, subscribe to the Patreon for Patreon-backed projects and early access. This project being on the tail of Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton. I'm Alpha Sancho, and I'm out.